Yeah.
What size are you using?
Nigel, what size?
We're rookies.
What
Yeah,
size?
we didn't look.
The big size.
6.5 inches.
Yeah, how about average?
That's above average, baby.
Oh, maybe in Canada, buddy. We're in America now.
In America, Canada's doing better than
Yeah,
What are you
Canada's
doing?
doing
What are you guys
better.
doing? Winter research?
Yeah, man. You can see there was like an infographic about dick sizes across the world.
Across the world.
Hey, guess who's
Who
doing the
did?
best?
No, I didn't
Obviously
see this.
Fun fact. But Canada
Canada's got
compared
the
to
biggest-
America, Canada's doing better than America.
Who's
for
got
sure.
the biggest wang in America or in the world?
Like an African country, I think.
No.
Come on,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
Come on,
real.
dude.
No, for real.
Come on,
Yeah.
Nigel.
Like,
it
Come on,
is.
dude. It's 2018. That joke's old.
All right, you got to do an incognito search to get the answer to this.
There you go. No, not
You
just.
know what, dick products forever.
I was.
Anything that works, I'm down to.
I'm gonna make you do it. So I don't have to-
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, welcome to Mama's Boys Podcast, the absolutely worst podcast in the entire world. We're here with one of my good friends, one of the kindest souls in the world. Reunited and feel so good
Feel so
situation.
good.
Mr. Jim McD, we got to plug away first. Lead the way, buddy.
Oh, hi. Let me do the endorsement. What's cracking, guys? My name is Omar. I just want to quickly give a shout out to our sponsor, the sponsor, Kaizen Training.
Who are those guys?
Who are those handsome devils? Started it with myself, Sound Mike Barquan. We offer training programs for all your fitness needs, whether your goal is to build muscle, lose fat, or get stronger. Check out Kaizen Training. That's Kiz or ZEN training.com.
Jim McD and I go years back now, probably 7, 6, and training partners, content creation partners, podcast partners, soon to be life partners.
It's great to have you on, Jim.
Yeah, it's cool you came to Columbus,
Thanks.
buddy.
It's really awesome to be here.
Yeah, you. I see you're trying to one up me on the checkered shirt game, and I think you may have won.
Checkered shirt game strong.
You know what I'm saying? It's maybe that's you. Just I know you got some family now up in Canada.
Yeah,
You're
what's it
slowly
called?
Family up in Canada for sure. Yeah.
first is starting with blue, and then it's going to go red and black.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
letting you
going to know the words to "Oh Canada," and I'm just going to wake up some morning and I'm going to be able to sing that fucker and just know where it came from.
What's
Yeah, that's how we
it called?
indoctrinate you. What this?
Canadian tuxedo, or am I way off?
Oh, Canadian tuxedo is actually wearing
Denim,
jeans, denim, everything. So jeans, jacket, and then if you
Shirt?
have, I'm not sure about the shirt. I'm going to go with yes for the shirt.
I've been in Canada enough that I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh, it's a real thing. Hey, Jim, let me ask you something because you do have family in Canada. Do you notice a difference when you go there to Halifax as opposed to, Sacramento? And if so, what are some of the big differences?
One huge difference between Sacramento and a lot of the rest of the world is food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we have everything available.
Yeah.
And when you go to like a Halifax, you're going to be able to get some stuff that we can't readily get or cheap, and then there's going to be plenty of stuff that you can't get.
Okay.
And then they have like the first place I ever saw Dunkin' Donuts coffee in a grocery store, like grounds you could buy.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Was the Atlantic Superstore in Halifax.
That's amazing.
Jim is good at saving all my facts. He'll know the real ones.
He can
that I
fact check
don't.
the shit out of us.
Yeah, just how bad I am. But I've read places, who knows how serious the places are that I read, which aren't. But Sacramento's like one of the most diverse cities in
supposed
whatever
to,
list.
It's supposed to be one of the most
Yeah.
diverse cities
Yeah,
in
so
America.
but it's a little different than LA. Where like LA, you go to downtown LA and it's like Chinese food, Indian food, Mediterranean food, whatever. In
Okay.
Sacramento, we have our pockets, so you could probably cut that down.
Like hoods.
Yeah, hoods. Well,
Yeah.
it's got to be hood. What you got?
I just say hoods, like neighborhoods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, neighborhoods.
It's a little bit all over,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, if you want good Asian food, you go to South Sac.
Right.
Oh my God, they're putting, as an aside, they're putting the best Mongolian hot pot place, like it's a chain.
Yeah.
But they're putting one in South Sac.
Interesting. I don't know if I've ever gone to South Sac. What I wish is, I think it was around when I was a kid, but I never went there, is like we had a little Tokyo, basically, right?
Yeah.
Broadway.
Yeah.
But it's not anymore. I wish it was.
No, it's not anymore.
It's kind of like,
yeah. Some of the buildings are still there, but they're just totally different
Yeah,
businesses.
there's like
inside.
one maybe business
Yeah.
that stayed, but they're building that area up, but it's just going to be hipster shit. I would
Yeah.
love a little Tokyo.
Oh, man. Like in LA, have you been, Jim, to Little Tokyo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Like it just has a unique vibe.
Yeah, all
the
that.
stores that you go in there, there's
Yeah.
that underground, the plaza.
Yeah, or K-Town. K-Town in LA is cool, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good food.
I love the idea. Like Toronto has that a lot. And you've stopped over in Toronto on your way to Halifax, or
Yeah, a bunch of times. But we stayed in Halifax a couple years ago.
okay, Halifax in Toronto. Yeah.
Toronto. Yeah.
Have you
yeah.
hung out there a little bit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love Toronto. I don't know
It's
why.
bro, because I'm there. Like,
Probably.
you want me to
Probably 'cause
explain? You want me to
Nigel's
explain what's going on in your subconscious? I'll do it.
We went to CN Tower.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got freaked out because I don't like heights.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, that glass
Yeah.
floor.
It's a
So
little
wait,
weird.
going up the elevator, you're fine, Jim?
Yeah.
Because
It's looking down. That's my problem.
well, the elevator, so for those that don't know, the CN Tower, it was previously the longest standing free structure, I believe, in the world, and now it's been surpassed. But the elevator itself, when it goes up, you could just look outside and see completely out, and you're going up pretty fast.
That's cool. That's cool.
That to me, looking down through, so you look down, Jim, and what do you see?
You see your feet, and then you see the Ripley's Aquarium below you, whatever happens to be there.
Yeah.
We went to a baseball game.
Yep.
Yeah, we were talking about doing that. We should have done it. We'll do it next time.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so weird that the hotel is inside the building.
Oh yeah, very cool.
You can watch the game from your hotel room.
Are those a little more expensive?
Yeah, I pretty much have to be.
Yeah, I would.
Jim's balling. Okay, I want to know what the side hustle is, Jim.
Well, no, we were in Airbnb.
Yeah.
Can I tell this story? I don't know.
Please, you can tell whatever you want, buddy.
Maybe we edit this. Maybe we don't.
Yeah. Who'd you stab, Jim?
No. Here's what happened. We were staying there with my son and daughter-in-law and my grandson, and the toilet broke, and it stayed broke almost the whole time that we were there. We really had to plan our bathroom trips.
Yeah.
And the weather was not perfect while we were there.
Yeah.
It was windy.
Was not conducive.
Rainy some of the time. And you're like, I got to go to Starbucks and use the bathroom.
Yeah. Lobby. Why are you in the lobby all day?
You come back and it's like, what's the code today? It's like 50632. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can use the bathroom at Starbucks. And then we were looking for a plunger underneath the sink,
Yeah.
We found, let's just say
Oh.
that the two gentlemen who lived there used an appliance that I had not seen left out before.
Oh.
A private time.
A private, yeah.
Did they used
But
to
why is it
sponsor?
underneath
Did
the
they used to
kitchen?
sponsor Rogan?
Well, why is it underneath the kitchen sink?
No, not that. No. I'm not talking about front door. We're talking about back door.
Oh, so like the opposite of Joe Rogan's old sponsor.
Like clearing the decks, let's say.
Anal suppository?
An anal douche thing.
Is that like a colonic type deal?
Yeah.
Like a homemade one.
The thing is, I don't think that they were like chronically constipated.
Would you
or
call it a
anything.
butt vacuum?
More of a butt fountain.
Oh, so like a
They
intrusive
needed
bidet?
clean anuses.
An
A butt
intrusive
bidet.
bidet.
Butt bidet.
But all
Intrusive butt
bidets
bidet.
are kind of for your butt.
Yeah,
But this one's like going in?
going in. Yeah,
Like a pipe?
yeah.
Mike's all excited. Mike was like just chilling, and then Jim, you
'Cause
continue your story.
I was confused. I was thinking, first my gross head went, what is it? Fleshlight, and then maybe dildo-ish.
No. This was just to clean the decks out.
Gotcha.
Interesting. That doesn't
Yeah.
sound so bad. Like I've heard that's super healthy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that they
You've
were
never heard
doing
that's
it-
health?
I don't know that they were doing it for health reasons.
Oh, so
what-
it's a toy. So it is a toy. So my head was in the right place.
No.
Oh.
I think it was getting ready. I think it was a pre-gaming activity.
So it was,
Pre-game for sex, Mike. Like, how are you not figuring this out? I like how Jim said, yeah, so two dudes are living there, and you're thinking to yourself, when he
They're
basically
healthy
indicated
dudes.
it's a
They're
sex
healthy
toy,
dudes.
and Mike's like, what? So it's a fleshlight? Like, they both bang the same fleshlight? I'm like, no, dude. Like,
I guess I ignored the two dude part and just thought like, what's weird that would be under the sink, and so I went dirty, and then I went clean, but it's getting clean to get dirty.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Something like that. They
get
were
it.
incredibly nice, and they were so nice. The thing was there.
Incredibly clean.
But like, we could not let my grandson, know that was there and play with it.
Of course.
Not that he would be badly influenced, but
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
up somebody's
dirty.
bum.
But yeah,
Yeah,
just don't touch it.
Touch that, yeah.
So two quick asides about Airbnb. The first is that a buddy
They
of
suck.
ours, Ryan, when he had to stay, I think it was in LA with Matt, when he visited you guys for some work, they stayed at a place, and the
yeah.
guy was a painter? What was it, Mike?
So so he went. Shout out to our boy Ryan. So he went, and I think the guy emailed or messaged ahead, say there's like artistic adult stuff on the wall, and he was thinking like whatever, right? Like naked girl artistically.
Yeah.
He went in there and it's straight just like cock and like pictures everywhere. He sent me pictures and like don't quote me. Don't quote
Jim,
me.
Jim, an insane amount.
Don't quote me. Like the spoons are like balls and like everything's just like
The pillows have dicks on them.
Yeah,
Like, he sent
everything.
his photos to our group.
everything. It's not
Yeah.
like one picture
Yeah,
of
it's not
like a
one
naked
picture.
dude or lady, which would be a very nice warning.
Yeah,
Like
of
you
course.
have kids, your grandsons, or you maybe don't want a ball picture. But
Right.
that can be
Yeah.
done artistically.
Sure.
But this is just dicks and balls all over the entire.
And it was one note. all throughout one theme, dicks and balls.
This isn't like Georgia O'Keeffe, who everything she painted looked like the opening of a vagina, but wasn't the opening of a vagina.
Yeah, but it wasn't even
No, I
paintings.
know actually
I think
what
it
you're
was straight
referring to.
Pictures.
There were pictures too. Yeah,
all of it.
So this is
photorealistic.
like photography.
Yes.
Yeah, half and half.
Yeah, combination photorealism.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, that's and this is an Airbnb.
It was like downtown LA, and I guess they warned them. I don't know. I don't like Airbnb anymore.
Well, yeah, no, we've had,
experiences.
and then other quick aside I was going to say about Airbnb. I was staying one time with my brother at this place, and shout out to the host Dave, who probably had to deal with it after. Well, there's just a few things that we weren't happy with, and my brother's a straight thug, and so when we went to leave, like just some things he did not appreciate, and Dave wasn't being helpful. He just took, I forget what he did. He organized it so the toilet bowl, you flip the top so it drains the water, and then he just took a massive shit in the toilet.
How old are you?
Yeah, we were like 22.
Don't lie.
Early 20s. It was early 20s.
Upper shelf?
Yeah,
Upper deck?
Yeah,
Which
upper
one?
deck. I think upper decker. Upper decker. I'm gonna switch.
No,
this
is
gross
it in the bowl?
conversation.
Yeah, let's make it classic.
Yeah, it's called
All right,
upper
go ahead.
decker. So CN Tower is really cool.
Yes.
But have you been to the New World Trade?
No.
That is probably the best like touristy tour thing I've ever done in my life. So
Like the new World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Okay,
One World Trade, I think it's called technically. Right next to the memorial, we have the newest, tallest building. Whatever.
Yeah. No, I've not been in it. I was there with you.
Yeah, around it. Yeah. We went to the memorial, but we didn't go in the building.
Right.
Up.
Yeah.
So I went in the building and up. They set the tone so insanely. You're walking through a pretty long line. Luckily for me, there's no line, but you're walking through like queues.
Because you're Silent Mike.
Yeah, I said, yo, it's Grim. No, we're actually, my newest trick in life.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah, my newest trick in life, which is the dumbest trick ever, but I just realized it. Like, you can buy tickets to anything online. Why are there lines? So, like, you go to Disneyland and people are literally waiting an hour. I'm like, bink, bonk, bink. Like, I don't know why. I waited in the line halfway. Then I clicked in my head, like, duh. And so, same thing there. There's a half an hour line to go up the tower. I was like, well, I'll just buy it online. So, there's no line. You're walking through and all the walls are... They're decorated, so sometimes it kind of feels like a foundation, like you're in the basement. And sometimes they're screens, and they have the construction workers talking about building the first World Trade, like being interviewed, and then they have people talking about this one and what it meant to them and feeling it because it's right next to the memorial.
Sure.
And so then you get in the elevator, and all sides of the elevator are screens also. And you start at the ground, and there's nothing around you. You see nothing but water on one side. And as the elevator's going up, whatever billion floors, you see a time lapse, animated time lapse of history of New York being built around you.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It's fucking insane. So you see like one little church over here, and then it's like, walk, and all these buildings are towering up above you. And then all of a sudden they disappear. The screen disappears. And then you see real New York, what it is now, right? Like
Very cool.
a mirror, or window.
Yeah.
And it's just like it literally gives you chills hearing these construction workers obviously talk about the emotion of being born and raised in New York, the towers in 2001, and everything going on. It's insane. It's insane. But that's what I recommend all you touristy people. CN was cool.
That'd be really cool.
It was cool. It was cool.
So
That's all I got.
we were talking about Airbnb experiences.
Yeah.
My worst one was actually in Halifax. We got there at really late because when you're flying from California to Halifax, it takes 13, 14 hours. So you never get there at a decent time unless you're willing to fly overnight. And I don't like to do that because I can't sleep on planes very well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, the time change, it just messes everything up.
So we get to this house. It was a Victorian, and it was listed as entire house.
Yeah.
And so my son had picked up the key and earlier in the day. And so we went, it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning by the time we finally get there. And we go into the house, and it's kind of like creepy old Victorian for one. And so we're trying to figure out where are the bedrooms and stuff. So we opened the first, what looks like bedroom downstairs. And like all these eyes open up. It was like
sex slave trade.
It was like a den of possums or something, I mean, it was all people. It was people. It's like stacked in there.
What are you in a hostel?
I think that they were foreign students. Oh, to be honest with you, I think they were foreign students.
But why would they advertise, Jim, that it's an entire house then?
This is a good question.
Dude, we've had bad Airbnb experiences, like all of ours.
I think that, I mean, the only thing I can think is that there was maybe a language barrier. And so it's a house. in the sense that it's not an apartment.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Not
yeah,
in the
yeah.
sense
It's
that
a full
the whole-
house. It's not a duplex.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there was an issue with that.
So then you just found 1 or 2 empty rooms.
we went upstairs with a room that was supposed to be the room that was in the ad. We thought was the only bedroom in the whole place.
Gosh, I would have left.
There
That
was a
would've been too scary.
refrigerator in the bedroom,
Yeah.
which is weird.
yeah.
And so we called Airbnb like right away and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're getting the hell out of here because this is not how it was advertised." But then at that point, they didn't have anything else to offer us, so we had to go
that's
like
creepy.
find a hotel. We stayed at the Lord Nelson for a couple of nights.
Yeah, I think I would have left. We have a bad one in New York, which we've already told on air, so we'll save everybody.
I heard.
Yeah. So we had
Thank
one.
you, Jim.
We had one in Toronto also, though. That wasn't as bad, but like Airbnb, one, it's not even cheaper anymore, really.
No,
like if you
it's-
start to get like
New York,
okay,
New York, it's cheaper. I feel
we
Jim,
saved $100
a night.
Yeah, going and we got a suite hotel compared to an Airbnb. So in Toronto, though, Omar books a dope house. And the overall experience was still an 8 out of 10, but there's some weirdness. So it's a dope house right by the gym, perfect, really cool feel to it, kind of modern, lofty feel, but big. There's a bunch of us in there. And I don't even know the progress of things would happen, but basically same situation where it said whole house, yours, cool, person lives off site kind of deal. It was a lock, code lock.
Yep.
Yeah, we got in. Everything's cool. And then like maybe she texts you or something.
Yeah.
And halfway we figured out that she's staying kind of in the basement.
Yeah, so there's a trap door for the main
there's
floor.
a door and it says don't open it. That's what it was.
There's a door that says that. So it's a trap door on the main floor
By the kitchen, yeah.
Yeah, and it just says like don't open or whatnot. And so
So
she
of
has a
course we
separate
open.
entrance somewhere that we don't know about.
Garage maybe underneath.
it's-
We don't
and
know.
It says entire house. We don't know. She's staying in the basement. That's what we were up late the first night, just all socializing, all of us, like 1:30.
Yeah.
And she said something like, "Hey, are you guys in bed?" Or just something that kind of
yeah.
indicated she must have either seen
heard us.
lights or heard us or something.
Yeah. Same thing. Like, look, it's not a big deal, but that's just weird. And then you're expensive, and then like,
Yeah.
I should say.
Yeah.
I'm your neighbor.
I mean, we've stayed in a couple places that it was the like downstairs or the
Right.
upstairs or whatever,
Right.
and it's separate entrance, but it's always said.
Most Airbnbs
Yeah.
are pretty clear. Like, I'm in this house, we share the kitchen or something. Or even one in LA, which again was a pretty good experience, but it didn't say it was a duplex. And so the owner's attached to you, and it's not that big of a deal. But I feel weird. It makes me feel
Yeah.
not as comfortable.
Yeah.
That's why I even like hotels. Like,
A hotel's removed. You just come in, check out.
and they're here to like serve you, and like they're here to make you feel welcome. Where this other place, I'm feeling like, oh, I better not make them mad.
Right.
Like, that's not comfortable.
Yeah.
So hotels for me.
Our only other really bad one was in Oregon, and it was a place that was supposed to have this great view of the like bay and stuff, and it turns out that the house had a great view of the bay, but this extra part in the back, the cottage was there was like an open patio lanai kind of thing between it and the house, and you had to take your shoes off to walk on that, and there was no kitchen, even though it said there was supposed to be a kitchen.
It was like a microwave.
It was access to the kitchen, their kitchen.
So you had to walk across.
but only certain times of day.
Weird. Just
I
not
hate
comfortable.
that. I hate that. Yeah. You're supposed to be comfortable.
We should have walked out like immediately.
That's what we did in the New York one, obviously.
Yeah, we're actually fighting right now to get a refund. I'm still in the process.
Hashtag free Omar.
Free Willy.
Well, I was going to say a lot of people do weird things, slightly different. I'm looking for a house. We talked about it a little bit, Jim, because Jim's basically born and raised in Sacramento, even though he's not, but he is. And so he knows Sacramento well, like me. And I'm talking about different places. So you'll look online and like I'm going through a good website, and then some of the pictures are like, oh, the view,
Right.
And then you go and like it's still nice, but you're like, well, that house is blocking the river
yeah.
that I'm supposed to be seeing,
Right.
And actually, and because I know Sacramento, I already know some things. I'm like, the river is a mile away from this house. Why is there a picture of the river on this little pamphlet? Like, yes, it's close to the river, but so is every major fucking city in America. Like, humans built around water.
Yeah.
Much, there were 2 rivers in Sacramento. Pretty much everything's close to the river in the city proper.
Even outside, you go to the burbs, like the furthest you are is 20 minutes from a river.
Probably so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like middle of Folsom or something. It still makes no sense. And I'm like, why? Like, just why?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a little bit scammy.
Yeah. I think it's they're just trying to market.
Yeah, people coming from Silicon Valley trying to move to Sacramento.
Yeah. That's a brutal commute. I would never do that.
Yeah.
But the cost of living there is so bad particularly for housing. It's insane. People can't afford to live there and work there.
What I didn't know is how that cost of housing in Sacramento is pretty much comparative to all California besides Silicon Valley and San Francisco. But like LA's not that much different. Like obviously Hollywood and this and that, but like LA, it's the same as Sacramento.
Yeah, it is actually. It's more affordable than San Francisco by a good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then San Diego is like obviously there's parts of San Diego that are following. And then there's some parts that are suburby too.
Yeah,
but then again with LA, you are living in LA, so that's probably why we both don't like LA at all.
Back to Airbnb for a second. We stayed in Airbnb a couple weeks ago in the Hollywood Hills.
Oh, okay,
that sounds fun.
It was a completely separate building, like very windy road.
Yeah.
And then so we were. They had a stream. They built a freaking stream on the walk down to this place. It was like the place we rented was the first turn off of the path, and then the house was down at the bottom of the path.
So this is real Hollywood Hills.
So
like
it was
mansions.
real Hollywood Hills. So it was a big house, nice house, and then they had this like in-law apartment kind of thing, but it was fully outfitted.
Oh, that's really cool.
It had like 14-foot ceilings, and then they had done all the acoustic treatments so it didn't echo.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
See, that's a good Airbnb.
Of course.
I had something like that 3 years ago when we first, basically right before we started Kaizen training, you and I, Mike, where we came down on that trip. So this would be 2015, but the same idea where a guy had a big house and then out back, as you said, kind of like the in-law house or whatnot. And just fully decked out, completely independent. It was amazing. So you can definitely have good experiences.
But I think once you start to crush numbers, like hotels, if you book in further enough in advance, can beat it still.
They can, or if you do, hotels tonight, if you're familiar with that, like sometimes you can get a good deal on that too.
And for us, like we're gonna eat out anyways. Yeah, like I'm never actually gonna cook at an Airbnb.
Whereas we almost never eat out at breakfast. Yeah, my wife is just like, it's not worth it to feed her in a restaurant because she can't eat enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Too big a portion.
She's a yogurt and granola breakfast person, and so it's just not worth it. But anyway, it was a pretty decent Uber down into Hollywood from there, and which is the way you want to do it because the traffic is awful.
And that side of LA is a little different too.
That side of LA is different.
I mean, if you can live over there, Brentwood and Melrose.
I saw some actor at this newsstand, and I can't remember his name, or I don't know.
Just know the face. Yeah, but just everywhere.
But they're everywhere.
Yeah, they really are. Because there's so many actors you don't even think about. Like, who's the guy that you just said is narrating The West Side?
Oh, Ron Perlman.
Yeah,
Ron Perlman.
And so you guys say that, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I saw his face, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I know him. That's so sick, And same thing when you think like Hollywood, you think, oh, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. You would never think that guy. You could easily see that fool hanging out at a coffee shop.
Yeah. And everything they say in LA is like 20 minutes away, but it's not.
That's a big difference between like out here, even maybe Toronto's a big city, but I'm sure some places in Canada, and then compared to like California, like you're driving everywhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where have I encountered the most traffic in Canada.
Dead anywhere near the Bay Area is just actually literally the worst. LA's bad, but near San Francisco, the grossest thing in the world.
Mike's new thing.
This is like
he's bringing for this podcast. He's bringing a whole new set of sound effects, bro. He's brought back, and I said this before off camera, but I feel it's funny you're here, Jim. Mike's like going retro, Mike.
I feel like I'm 22
with the toque.
again.
Yeah, with the beanie, with the shirt. You're like, I'm ready to do max effort squats.
What's toque, bro?
A toque is a beanie.
I know, but like, what's the
man? I don't know. I just know it's what we call it.
I don't know. I know, like Australia has a bunch of things, like a jersey. I think is a tank top. Like we don't say jersey unless you're playing a sport.
Wait,
what's a vest? What's a vest?
Vest is a tank top.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You'd call it a vest?
I don't know.
We'd only call it a vest like that leather thing that
we don't call it that.
Oh,
this is a house of learned doctors.
Oh, a vest is a dumb guy thing.
Jim, I want to talk about.
It's Australian.
I want to talk about your beautiful, massive calves for a second here, because I told you this, and that was the first time.
This is the battle. This is like captain.
The battle?
This is the captain of calves, and this is Team No Calves.
I'm the Sundance kid right here, and
this
you're
the Michael Jordan
your Butch
of
Cassidy buddy.
That's the Michael Jordan of calves.
Or you could be Captain Fantastic, and I could be the Brown Deer Cowboy. I was gonna say,
you say the Brown,
bro. It's an Elton John album.
All right, fair.
Come on now, get learned. I was gonna say, when I first visited Super Training and I saw you were in shorts, I saw it like on camera or whatever, but I think you probably honestly have, besides like a bodybuilder that, you know,
No, even
goes
still,
nuts,
I'll put it up. I'll put it up. I'll put his
Jim,
calves up against Phil Heath's.
I think you have the biggest calves I've ever seen in my life, and that's even bigger than Jeremy Hamilton, who
his
has
are
never
good too. Yeah,
who
I've
has
seen
never trained calves either, and he just has diamonds. So I just want to know what's going on there, and why are you not a foot dash like knee
calf?
down model? Yeah, like,
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question. That the other question is like totally genetics because my one of my kids has exactly my calves.
yeah. He's the more successful one.
Yeah,
Doing way better. Yeah,
that's it. It has, you know, he has exactly my calves. My younger son has like my leg length, but he's like 6'1".
Yeah.
So he's got a 30-inch inseam, and he's 6'1". So he's got short legs, long torso.
Wow.
And I thought he wasn't going to have the calves, but he's been working out a bunch lately. He showed me his calves the other day. He was like, "Oh no, like you don't have calves as big as my calves, but you have calves for somebody who doesn't have calves."
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Fair.
The genes run strong in the
Yeah.
McDonald family, is what you're saying.
And then my grandsons both have them. Like
Wow.
both of them, like as babies, you can see them.
That's amazing.
Blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed.
So it's not even about walking or working out.
Yeah.
It's just they're big.
Hey, you.
They look like at birth. They look like they have grapes under
That's
the skin
amazing.
there behind their shins.
You'd love to say the old adages of hard work, dedication, keep at it, kids. And you're just like Jim. You're just like genetics, bro.
It is. It's genetics. It's crazy. You know, Ryan Connolly, Lauren Collins.
Yeah.
Okay. So I recently had somebody who's a cousin of mine contact me on Ancestry Dna and say, "Hey, we're cousins, but I don't know how we're cousins. Do you have a GED match number?" And I can run, I can run another analysis. I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." So I looked it up, and I got this GED match analysis thing, and you get a number. It's a free website that you can take your raw genetic results from Ancestry or 23andMe and load it in, and it gives you like a bunch of additional information.
So it's like a second phase to this for free.
Based on a bunch of algorithm stuff. And like the craziest thing is like I'm like 1% Mesolithic Iranian.
Very cool.
So
Yeah.
ancient, super
ancient
DNA shit.
Sumerian style. I love it. Yeah. You're a direct descendant of Gilgamesh, is what I'm.
Probably so.
Yeah.
And
The first superhero, maybe?
Yeah. The first Superman. He was the 1/3 god.
there you go.
Yeah.
So I put a picture of this totally different breakdown that I've ever seen before. It's like, you know, Eastern European hunter-gatherer and Western European hunter-gatherer and all this ancient DNA stuff up. And Ryan messaged me. He's like, "Dude, have you done self-decode?" And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." So this website,
internet's so insane.
you take those same results and you put them into self-decode, and it's like $60, and it gives you all these crazy health factors.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's useful. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's 23andMe. What's the other one?
Ancestry.
DNA. There's a third or fourth.
Yeah, whatever.
One too.
My mom did one of them, and some are just wrong. But and they try to like give you a little health thing.
Yeah.
Like, but some are wrong, or like you're supposed to be blonde, and like my mom's not blonde. You know, like or whatever.
There is some of that stuff.
That's just
And-
like blatantly wrong. But then there's other, like Alzheimer's and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
blah.
yeah. And then so the self decode one does that stuff.
That's cool.
And So I'm worried now about Parkinson's.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm worried about Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I never started smoking because apparently I'm that guy.
Lung stuff.
Yeah. Apparently I'm like I would be. Well, no. It's two factors. I would be likely to become addicted to smoking.
Oh, interesting.
But I have protective factors against lung cancer.
You see that
for
stuff?
whatever reason.
Like I obviously don't know shit about science, but I just push back with like nature versus nurture on that. Like I do think you're born with some addiction or non-addiction or whatever, but like I think so much of it.
It's like a plus 10% resistance. It's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
though?
yeah, and then that starts to like go against the theory of like humans having control of what we do, which maybe we are the Matrix. Maybe Elon is correct again.
Where is Mike going here with that? I was gonna say, it's like plus 10 extra resistance, but ultimately your like free will and a lot of other components make up the largest factor.
Right. The craziest one though was
Thanks, Neo.
multi-factors, multi-genetic factors for irritable bowel syndrome, which I
Yeah.
totally have.
Yeah.
It's like it's completely descriptive in that regard. And the GED match site had a thing that was an eye color predictor, and apparently works better on 23andMe's results than Ancestry's. So mine was wrong because my eyes are just blue.
Yeah.
But from a genetic standpoint, they're not.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like I have
What you could pass on or what they're supposed to be.
I have 2 or 3 genes for brown eyes. I don't have brown eyes.
Yeah, it was something like that because I read my mom's and I was like, well, that's just not true.
Yeah, and apparently I'm at a greater risk for gray hair, which I don't really have.
Yeah,
Did yours tell you about like explosiveness? There was like something
No,
on my
that's
mom's.
a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. My mom said something about like explosive athlete, and I was like, nope. And I was like, thanks, mom. Like,
Yeah,
Dad gave me
23andMe
something.
has that.
Yeah.
There's like a dashboard that's supposed to give you like an aggregation of all these particular factors into certain characteristics, and like mine looks like a fucking shit show. It's awful. It's super awful. I'm like, dude, there's no good news here. Why did you turn me on?
Why would you? It's like, do you?
Why am I doing this?
Yeah, and that it's almost like when people ask, like, would you want to know like when you die or how you die,
Yeah,
or both
yeah,
of them?
yeah.
It's like, you know what? It's like, you know what? I'd rather not know any of it.
Or just even things because I think whatever one this one was, it like tells you a percentage that you might get Alzheimer's. So it's like, what if that bitch is like above 80%? I don't want to know. Like,
Yeah.
I would almost rather just start forgetting one day. Like, it would probably be less painful.
Yeah.
Like mentally painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was hoping to get some answer about the calf thing in there, but I didn't see anything. I did, however, find out that I'm a low responder to exercise. So.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I'm like, well, all right.
Yeah,
then.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which
knowing
is
that.
interesting. Shout out to our boy Jacob Ross.
Yeah.
He told me that Luau, shout out to Luau Deng as well. I was a big fan of his for one, which is cool because I love basketball. But two, he said that they did some diet stuff related to a blood or mouth swab thing. Because Luau, I think, was pescatarian. Mostly maybe a little vegetarian. I forgot. Don't quote me on any of this world. Or sorry, Jacob. Sorry, Luau. But then
text him.
then some things like popped up. They're like, oh no, he should probably eat some more of this or less of that. Maybe it was the opposite. Maybe he was only eating chicken, and then it said like, oh, more fatty foods. Don't quote me, but something. And then he adjusted, and he's like, yeah, dude. And I saw him about a month afterwards, and I was like, yeah, I lost about 5 pounds, and he's already a lean dude. I was like a good 5? He's like, dude, I feel great. I was like, and I'm not one to really believe in that. Like maybe because people say like, oh, you're from Italy, you should just eat fish and wine, and you're just from Canada, you should just eat poutine and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Nobody should.
Yeah.
I love it, but you should.
Oh, you do like it?
I do like it.
I still didn't try it because it's mostly
Why have
gravy,
you tried
right?
it?
I don't even like gravy.
It's gravy, cheese curds, and then fries.
I don't even know what a
fries.
cheese curds is, dude.
Cheese curd is kind of like the throwaway of the cheese.
Like curds and whey?
Yeah.
Is that on her tuffet?
Kind of, yeah.
Mike, I feel like that hat might be too tight on your head, buddy.
You don't know Little Miss Muffins at our tuffet eating her curds and whey. Do you not have a childhood?
Not in that sense. No, with Little Miss Tuffet, no. I do not know this woman, no.
You don't know Miss Muffin?
Please do not associate
You know the
me with
Muffin
her.
Man?
Along came a spider.
Sat down beside her, bro.
Yeah.
That's the first rap song.
So those are the first rap songs. Jim,
NWA who?
oh my God. Jim, let me ask you a question here because you've been on a podcast for quite some time. What is something, and you also listen to podcasts? And so now this is new for me being
Approaching a
on,
launch.
Yeah. No, it's already launched, man. You're
I
behind the
didn't know.
times.
I
You
am
have 2
behind the
episodes. By the time this is out, yeah, you're gonna have probably, is it 1 a week, Jim?
No, that's a whole other story. I dropped the first 2. I'm going to try to drop the next 2 at the same time, but it's a 10 episode season.
Gotcha.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So like by the time that I leave here, I'm probably going to have 7 episodes in the can. I only have
Yeah.
3 more to do for
Yeah.
season 1.
Yeah, chop them up and let them go.
So my question was going to be, I'm just getting started. I'm also just listening to podcasts, getting into it. You from being in the game for quite some time and running something successful, what are the factors you look for in a podcast? Like when you just like
As a creator or as a listener?
as a creator first.
When I'm looking at how they're constructed,
Yeah.
I'm listening for most of the shows that I listen to are not talk shows. They're informational kind of programs or yeah, for the most part, the ones that I listen to the most that I enjoy the most are more informational. So they're scripted
Yep.
to a certain degree. So like really good writing. And then on top of that, like really, really good production that understands how people listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
The trick of podcasts is that most people listen to them with earbuds, so you're kind of going right in their head.
Yeah.
So if you're well crafted, you get maybe a stronger response than you would from being exposed to the same information in a different format.
Yeah, even reading it, perhaps.
Yeah. It's certainly stronger than just watching it.
Jimmy, you got that ASMR voice. I'm just saying, buddy. Yeah. Where it's just like you listen to it. I think that is part of the success, honestly, of some podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
And what I mean is, it's the timbre, the inflections, and a lot of those factors.
I agree.
You know,
I let's just rip the lid off this for a second here, because starting my show, it's edited, and there's a setup intro, and then in the course of the conversation, I will, course of the interview, I will cut in with like
your thoughts,
my thoughts on
that's cool.
something about this, or a piece of information that was missing that would help somebody understand it better, or whatever. It's a lot of work, but that stuff has to be scripted to a certain degree. Yeah. And basically, if it's particularly long, I script it, I speak it, I rescript it, and I respeak it. And so there's a little bit of variation most of the time, unless it's information that's supposed to be, if I'm providing numbers or something like that.
Just for the people, I guess, that are going to head that way from this podcast, give us just a general breakdown of the idea of it, because it is different than the podcast you and I were on. It's a little bit different than the vibe me and Omar have, where it is more talk show. We just want to sit down with people we want to sit down with and talk. Yours has much more direction and organization.
Yeah, what we lack, which is called direction in life. So skill would be the second factor.
Well, it's called the Less Than Obvious Podcast, and it's about when people make decisions that really only make sense to them at the time. Yeah. Everyone's around them like going, what? Like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that might be detrimental to you. Why are you doing that thing? Kind of like the road not taken. Mm-hmm. It's like, what happens when you take the road not taken? Yeah. That whole thing. And then in the premise is built in that sometimes it turns out well and sometimes it turns out poorly.
Sure.
Am I going to find somebody who's going to tell me about something that didn't go well? It's going to be harder.
I got you.
For sure.
I got you. I got like 5 of them. I got 5 in my head.
I got 5 forks in the road in my life,
fucked up way too many times.
And then it's a more directed conversation, because I'm asking about the decision-making process that led up to it, and like, were you running purely on emotion, or did you actually think through all the factors? And then as you were going along, was there any point that you regretted having made that decision, whether it turned out well or not? Because sometimes you make a decision and things are rough. Like, sometimes you make a decision for things to be rough for a period of time.
100% knowing it. That's there's all these gurus in this world right now trying to be business guys and life coaches and all this. Shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk. One thing I do love that he says is he always talks about like being willing to or choosing to eat shit for a while.
Right.
Like, even right now, like, we could probably afford a better room for the 3 of us. There's 3 dudes staying in one hotel room. Like, we could probably figure it out. But, like, we'd rather be a little bit more frugal, save our money to put it back to this podcast or put it back into our next venture or whatever. So we're eating shit in a sense that it's 3 grown men.
Mike, this is awkward, dude, because I didn't tell you.
Oh, you've been staying next door?
No, you put me in charge of the budget. We are staying here for apparently 3 more days. We've run out of money for food.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Done.
Yeah, we're not eating.
Yeah, we're not
of that
eating.
nature or whatever.
Things be looking grim.
Yeah, but that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, choosing maybe a worser path. Praying for the best, or maybe even for happiness. Like, worser might be like taking less money or taking whatever. But then doing it for something bigger.
Yeah, toward the ultimate goal. For those of you who are listening, I'm just going to mention the fact that this room has 3 guys and 2 beds. So anyway.
One bed and a cot.
I used to sleep in the same bed as Nigel, but now I'm sleeping on the floor. I downgraded myself.
Yeah, and 2 out of the 3 guys snore horribly.
I snore horribly.
Oh, not good.
Yeah, well, I probably have sleep apnea. Okay, bro, it's a very serious thing.
Sorry.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, touchy subject.
Wow. Yeah.
You have a big tongue, I heard.
Wow. A Gene Simmons-esque tongue
was that on the recording when you said that?
Yeah. I said, because I was like joking around. I said, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you're like, I think I have a big tongue.
Yeah, because all you guys are like, normally people that have sleep apnea are like way bigger than you. And I said, I think it's because I got a big tongue. They're like, what? Like, it was with the Tom.
That's
we
hot.
did a Tom Finn and a Tom Callis, and so they're just going off. So I was just like,
Yeah, we couldn't even keep up.
yeah.
I'm sure you couldn't.
We're pretty good.
Pray for me tomorrow.
Oh,
you're
you're done.
interviewing
You're
them?
done for.
Yes, I agreed too.
Yeah, you're done for.
Like, I regret this. Jim, I want you to be just perfectly honest with us because you've been listening to our podcast. And I actually have to say, before I go on, I appreciate you in a way that I have never said when I was on. No, because when I was on the Powercast, on the episode that was when I was in person, and it was uploaded to your channel. And like, you know, I shouted it out on my Facebook, like, check it out. And a lot of my fans were like, oh, like, this is like good. They enjoyed it, whatnot. But other people would say, like, this Omar guy is like taking over the podcast, like, just was dominating, which is true. You know, I'm very talkative. I don't deny that. But like, rather than being like, yeah, he could like be a bit much or whatnot, I forget the way you phrased it, but you said only positive things about me when you definitely could not have, because like your hardcore base had, you know, one opinion or some of it had one opinion, and you could have easily leaned into that. You know what I mean? Like, go on that side, but actually you didn't throw me in the dirt, buddy. You did the opposite. So I appreciate that.
Well, I just actually thinking back to that situation, let's just say that it wasn't, that particular interview wasn't being led very strongly.
Yeah. We were just fucking going nuts.
And it absolutely opened up for the opportunity for you to just go.
Yeah.
So you went. And that's, I mean, that's your style. That's you.
Thank you, Jim.
That's you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm completely down for the possibility that particularly a podcast like that, or maybe like this one, whatever, is going to be a little bit of an experiment.
Yeah. We're open to that too, right? Like, obviously talking to our boys, Tom and Tom are absolutely nuts. Then we had the wonderful Miss Jen Thompson in here.
Completely different
vibe. Even you from Jen are a different vibe, a little more similar than the Toms, obviously. But
no one's like the Toms.
Yeah. They really are one of a kind. But yeah, you don't know what you're opening up. Like, we obviously do, because I know you so well, but when you're inviting these different guests, you might get some opinions. You might not know them well enough in person. Like, it is much of an experiment.
Well, when we talked to Janae, we had no idea where that was going to go.
Yeah. You knew her. I never met her.
Yeah. And that was probably one of the best episodes ever.
Yeah, I felt like a professional that day.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That was the day I stamped, like, I am a podcaster. Because I did like some research, because a lot of the other guests we knew, or you could just quick Google, like, oh, they squatted this or did this.
Yeah.
Easy research like that. I want to do real research on the topic itself, to be hopefully understanding to her and the whole community, and not be a dickhead that I can be by just talking too soon, which happens a lot.
Yeah, I think that we tried to be sensitive to the situation too, because she's just been outed and all that stuff. I mean, that sucks. Even if you feel like that possibility is out there, which you have to, how do you ignore that, right? It still sucked.
Yeah, and it was like the topic of the year.
It was,
right, because there's Caitlyn Jenner and there's all these different things going on politically and otherwise. Yeah, there's so much going on.
So yeah, it's like you just in that kind of, my show is very controlled in a lot of ways. Although it was my goal to make Michael Fahey cry today, and I did manage to do that.
Game on.
I think if you're doing experimental things some of the time is good.
Yeah.
And it had that feeling about it. It's like, well, Omar's going nuts. It's like, well, let's see how it goes.
I actually thought it was good from my memory. It was 3 years ago or more, but my memory of it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I mean that's how it should work. And like, actually, one of your episodes that I listened to, that short one about getting kicked out of New York.
Oh yeah,
the vibe on that one was so completely authentic to the situation. Like that was like being in the room. Because you guys you're not really doing it here, but you guys were completely talking over each other some of the time. But but that conveyed the chaos of what you were feeling so much stronger than having a completely articulate thing. It's a different experience. It's a little bit of because because it's not calculated. It's just how it was.
Yeah.
Like if you calculated it, it would be performance art.
Right. Yeah. Props to Omar for that, because I was not freaking out. I don't think even though we've talked about it a lot on media in past, and we've talked on media in past of my anxiety issues.
Yeah.
I never like have a full freak out mode. Like I'm never in the corner crying or like throwing shit, but I was middle freaking out during that. Omar's like, we got to record this. I was like, dude, I don't want to record this. I want to get out of this Airbnb. He's like, no, this is great. Sit down. I was like, God damn.
I want to get into, because as an outsider trying to understand what your anxiety feels like, I'm like, I wanted to be there.
That's really cool that it came through that way. Because it literally, I was trying to get out by 1 o'clock, and Omar's, it was 11, and I was like, let's just go, dude. I don't want to be in here. And he's like, let's record one. I was like, oh great.
No, it was brilliant. And then it goes back to what I said. It's being experimental some of the time is how things grow.
Yeah.
You can't all do the same thing the same way all the time.
Sure.
And expect to get anything out of it that's different than what you did before.
Yeah, everyone just go back, 10 seconds and listen to that again, because that's like the most we see everywhere. And we talk about the fitness industry and how real you are and just being yourself on things. Like everyone says like, oh, Omar wears a bandana and does informational videos. He's got 800,000 subs. Bandana? Let me read a book. Oh, let me talk some shit. Like that's literally what people do. Like, no, dude. Like Omar experimented by doing cartwheels in a fucking soccer field in 2010. Yeah. Like that's how we got there. Like it's so different. And they say with the podcast, like Jim came to me, the first podcast we were on, is like, hey, you want to do a podcast? Like, bro, I have no idea what a podcast is. If you want me there, I'm fucking there. we literally talk about eating shit. We started in a closet smaller than my cot, and I'm on a couch lounging on with my shoes off, and we just started talking shit. I don't think I listened to a podcast until probably 2 years later. When I knew who Joe Rogan was, but I never knew what that he was such a big podcast. I listened to that. Yeah. Even to this day, I probably listen to a podcast a month. And I think in a way, other artists talk about this all the time. Not that I'm some artist, but they talk about like, oh, I don't listen to my genre of music because I don't want to be tainted. Yeah. And that's how I kind of feel agreeing 800% with what you do or saying. Because if I listen to a bunch of podcasts, maybe I'll pick up somebody's tendencies of an interview or tendencies not. I'd rather just be myself. And if you hate it, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying. That's why I also reset this one to, it's actually in self-help under health instead of the category that it was in before. Because I think that being able to understand how other people make decisions will help you make decisions yourself, or at least have more confidence about the decisions that you make. And there is no perfect formula. I haven't done enough of them to be able to see even particularly patterns yet.
Yeah, I don't think there are.
And maybe there are, maybe there aren't. But I was super inspired by Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh. What work?
Tipping Point.
Oh yeah, Tipping Point. Very cool.
Huge fan of Tipping Point.
I don't know what that is, but when you described your podcast, I was like, oh, he's talking about a tipping point.
And and
that's all I know.
I'm a huge fan of his podcast. It's called Revisionist History.
Okay,
huge fan of that. So in my mind, Revisionist History, a little bit of How I Built This.
Yeah, I've listened to a couple of those. Those are really good.
And a little bit of another one called The Hilarious Worlds of Depression, which is comedians talking about depression.
Interesting.
There's a lot of depression in the comedy world. The thing is weird about that show, and I can't listen to it all the time, is that it's literally it's written, it's punched in with narrative the same way that I'm trying to do it, but it's got a very clear three act structure, which I'm not evolved enough to do yet.
Yeah.
But Act 2 is always dark as fuck,
and then it kind of tries.
So it goes like intro, dark, light at the end, like redemption.
Like an establishment of like what the person does, and what their life has been like up to the point that they realize that they're depressed or they have a depressive disorder, and then the middle part is always about how the depressive disorder had affected their lives. The woman who does My Drunk Kitchen did an episode recently.
Oh yeah,
that's interesting.
Is her
my
name
mom's
Hannah?
a big fan of her. We talked about her, didn't we?
Hannah Hart.
Yeah, my mom's a fan of her.
And then the third act is kind of like what they've done to try to improve their situation.
Yeah, that's cool.
And not everybody improves that much. It's they get things somewhat more under control, but maybe not. Maybe they don't have a particularly well-adjusted life at the end, and some of them are so dark in the second act that the third there's not enough light in the third act to pull it out.
Yeah.
It's still a really, really well produced
because
podcast.
it's real.
By somebody who is a depressed person and I mean, it's incredibly well produced. I don't know what his background was. He maybe was on one other podcast before this.
Yeah. And maybe he has a team or who knows what.
He does at least have a team. I don't think anybody's doing it as complicated a show as like I'm doing all by themselves.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it all by myself. I need help.
Yeah, that's what even looking our category, whatever, society and culture. And I'm looking around, I'm like, this one's produced by NPR. This one's produced by like, okay,
we're getting the big dogs.
Yeah.
What'd you say, big dog?
Big dog. But we're ready. We're ready.
Yeah, we're coming.
Yeah. Jim, let me ask you this, man. So your new venture is the Less Than Obvious podcast.
Right.
For you, what other things are you focusing on now these days?
I'm doing some post-production with some other podcasts.
Yep.
And
are you throwing the application email out there or no? Not yet. People to contact you?
People can contact me, and the stage that I'm at right now, if they want to have a really good podcast, and they want to have like an upper level kind of podcast.
If you're fucking actually in it.
If you're in it, if it's not just like, oh, I need to have a podcast because I need to also have a YouTube channel and I need to have Instagram.
Because I have 10,000 on Instagram.
Yeah,
like, no,
right.
You want a podcast.
Yeah. Then hit me up and we can talk about it. And if you're interested, I can tell you that it's not going to be free. And
it's not going to be easy either.
And it's not going to be easy either.
Shit's hard.
Like, I really want to talk through, like, it's very common for people to offer launch services. And I almost kind of wish that I'd done that with somebody this time myself because I'm doing it so much myself. I have a friend who was going to help me out and like got hung up. And so I'm going to have his help. It's just a little later than my launch. But with launch services, you're basically just like, you're just doing a certain program stuff with them. You help set up their feed with a host, and you get them on all the platforms,
equipment list or something. Yeah,
you may help them with some graphic stuff and that kind of thing, and initial, like if you do a trailer for your podcast or whatever, that kind of stuff. And there's a set amount associated with that. But I would really rather work with somebody who has a great idea for a podcast and help them develop it and figure out how to market it and how, what does it look like? What does it sound like? That's what I just went through with mine. Like my podcast has music in it. I have to find the music that worked.
That's cool.
Real
production.
Real production. I want to do like really high quality stuff. And like, I don't know if the market is there, but I feel like we're at a place with podcasting where unless you have gifted personalities, you have to have really high level production.
I've heard, it's a common thing. Like we talked about people just trying to emulate what they see or copy other things. And there's so many podcasts popping up right now. And I've listened to some like, what was that?
Yeah.
Like not, again, like I'm some podcast god. I'm like, what were you even thinking going in?
Right.
What was there any process? A thought? Like me and Omar passed back ideas like, hey, I like how this guy kind of does it. I like, with this guest, let's kind of touch on this. Let's go this route. Just some kind of prep. And then Omar's insanely gifted personality, like you just said, and I can feed off that. So we're okay there and we can play around with things. But I agree with you.
You have a lot of experience too.
That too. I've done it a little while. 100 whatever episodes. So I know when I'm bad. I know when I'm good. But you're right. You can't just show up and be like, oh, I'm going to talk and people going to listen.
You're going to learn something today.
Are you going to listen today?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I think that we're past the point that works.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. We did it in a closet for a little while. We hit the right moment because we were just talking today, listening.
Yeah, the moment was a thing.
Yeah,
the moment was a thing. Being there, being at the right place at the right time.
100%, which is everything. Yeah. I mean, that's my YouTube. That's my Instagram. I'm sure you give some of your YouTube credit that right place, right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So, if people wanted to contact me, they can do that.
Instagram, email,
Instagram.
YouTube?
They can email me at Jim at thejimmcd.com.
The Jim McD.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jim, thanks for hanging out, buddy. We're going to go grab some food.
Jim, thank you so much for being on. Yeah, great to see you again, man.
Check out his podcast. I highly recommend
the Jim Less Than Obvious
Jim
podcast.
As a human, even though I haven't heard the podcast, because I recommend him as a human, I know the podcast will be good. We would like you guys to check out mamasboyspodcast.com. If you're interested in some merch, we got a Patreon coming, so maybe it's linked, maybe it's not. We don't know where we stand with that.
Check
we
it out in
you
the
either way.
description. Appreciate all you guys. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes, and we're out.
We're out.
We're out in a bit, mate.
Go get your vest on. We out.